Hello and welcome. 5 at 5 last week, as I said, I will try and do it 4 days a week. Unfortunately, I was traveling last week, so wasn't able to do more than 3 days, if I remember. But today I will. I mean, and plenty of questions that have been asked, and I will take all of them. I will take all of them. Quite a few questions are critical, and we will take the critical questions also because that's the whole point of this particular show. So I promised this gentleman. Let me just take his question out. Mr. Dr. Devashish Palkar. Dr. Devashish Palkar writes, and I quote, "How many Dr. Devashish Palkar? Where are you, sir? Let me let me quote your tweet first." And should Gautam Gambhir my next coach? Sachin, I will take that. Let me just go one by one. Dr. Devashish Palkar writes, "We don't have the guts to discuss Rohit Sharma's performance in IPL. So we will do an article on Virat's on-field behavior. Ware Boria Majumdar and team. Last me at least, you mean last but not the least. Disclaimer to dalte who sponsored the article. Dr. Palkar, with due respect, on this particular show and on Rev Sports platforms, I have been unequivocally candid that Rohit's form in the IPL, in fact, the first 5 at 5, which I started last week, we started with a show which questioned Rohit's form and should we be worried. And I was very categoric that Rohit's form has been a serious kind of concern for me. I've done it in Bangla, I've done it in Hindi, I've done it in English. And I raise this question again because you say it. Second, I will come back to this. आपने लिखा है कि disclaimer तो डालते who sponsored the article. Rev Sports में 42 people work and this article has been written by Atreya Mukhopadhyay, who is one of the more senior most journalists in the country, senior than me. हमारे यहाँ पे ना इंडिपेंडेंस है, जो अपना ओपिनियन लिखना चाहते हैं विद इन क्लियर, अगर वो आर्टिकल रीजनेबल और रैशनल होता है वो आर्टिकल लिखा जाता है. कोई डिस्क्लेमर नहीं डालने का जरूरत है और कोई स्पॉन्सर नहीं करता है. ये जर्नलिस्ट्स का प्लेटफॉर्म है, बाय जर्नलिस्ट्स एंड फॉर जर्नलिस्ट्स, and every journalist has his freedom to express him or herself, Dr. Palkar. So I would urge you to be respectful and ask your questions, but this whole implicit understanding that one is against Virat and for Rohit is nonsense. I have been categoric on this show and on Rev Sport saying Virat is the best Indian batter on view in this IPL. Do you want me to repeat? Virat has been the best Indian batter on view in this IPL. And from day one, I have been saying that the people who were raising questions on his selection for the World Cup was wrong because India does not have a replacement for Virat Kohli. So that has been our stand. Now, coming to the article, I've read the article which says the thin line. By the way, Virat Kohli is a role model, and the intensity and passion that he brings to the table for India and RCB is a point well taken. When India won the test match at Lords, when the Indian bowlers, the fast bowlers bowled England out in 4 hours, was a proof of his intensity. But yesterday, when Jake McGurk got out to that, the drive was played by Shea Hope, and Jake McGurk got out because Yash Dayal's hand, the ball touched and hit the wicket. I don't think, and I actually agree with Atreya, that over-the-top celebration was not required. So if someone questions that celebration, it doesn't become anti-Virat. Because as I said, Virat's batting effort right through the IPL has been lauded by people here and will be lauded by people here. My hand is up first. If there is a particular thing that has been questioned, it is our job to question. Atreya is very much within his rights, डॉक्टर पालकर, टू क्वेश्चन. उनको ये सवाल पूछने का हर हक है और हम लोग ये सवाल पूछेंगे. जस्ट लाइक रोहित के बारे में भी पूछ रहे हैं कि रोहित का फॉर्म चिंता का विषय है या नहीं है. मुझे तो लग रहा है चिंता का विषय है और मैं यही मानूंगा कि नेक्स्ट जो 2 मैचेस है, इंक्लूडिंग आज का जो मैच है और एक जो मैच बचा हुआ है, उनमें रोहित फॉर्म में वापस आ जाएंगे और वर्ल्ड कप में भारत के लिए बेटर स्टार्ट्स देंगे. अगर वो नहीं देते हैं एज कैप्टन तो भारत के टीम पर ये असर पड़ेगा. और आईपीएल में अभी तक जो स्टार्ट्स रोहित ने दिया है मुंबई इंडियंस के लिए वो अच्छा नहीं था और उनका फॉर्म चिंता का विषय है. और क्लियरली बोलूं क्या, I hope you will now tweet Dr. Palkar. I hope you're watching this show because I had said it very categorically. I will answer. Now have the courage to tweet saying there was have the courage to say this, that you were wrong. You doubted us wrong. You doubted Atreo wrong. For once, show some courage and some guts and say this division that you were trying to create between Rohit and Virat is not something we stand for. Can you please do that? Because that's what I expect from you, a medical practitioner and somebody who works on mental health. If you actually do, I'm sure you've got your answer by now. And if you want to ask me a question on the show, Dr. Palkar, come and ask me that question and I will answer that question. Am I clear? Am I clear? I hope I am. So kindly come and ask me any question you want. Be civil, be rational, and every question will be answered on this particular show. Swapnil, can you give me the other questions? But before that, actually give me the other questions. I've got some questions from Anushmita Bhattacharya on my book as well. Sachin Chaudhary, should Gautam Gambhir become the next coach of the Indian cricket team? Very good question. Very good question. Will Gautam apply? One has to see that, but I think as mentor of the Kolkata Knight Riders, he's pretty happy. I don't see Gautam Gambhir applying for this coaching position, which is a round the year job. I do think VVS Lakshman is a front runner. I do think if there is a foreign entrant, it could well be Justin Langer. But I at the same time, the name that you floated, Sachin, is a very good name. हम लोगों ने सबने देखा है कि गौतम गंभीर ने कोलकाता नाइट राइडर्स के साथ क्या कमाल कर दिखाया है. ये जो सुनील नारायण वाला डिस्कशन है ना, सुनील नारायण वाला जो प्रमोशन है, ऊपर लाने का, ऊपर खिलाने का, ये गौतम गंभीर का डिसीजन है. मैंने वेंकी मैसूर से आज एक लंबा इंटरव्यू किया, उसमें गौतम गंभीर का कोलकाता नाइट राइडर्स के इस परफॉर्मेंस के लिए उनका इंपैक्ट क्या है, ये एक सवाल भी पूछा. वो इंटरव्यू हम लोग चलाएंगे, आप उसमें भी देखना. गौतम गंभीर के बारे में डिटेल में बात हुआ है. गौतम गंभीर मेरे दोस्त भी हैं और मेरे साथ लास्ट 2 साल में साथ में थे. सो ये जो नाम आपने बोला, ये बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग नाम है और बहुत अच्छा नाम है, क्योंकि गौतम गंभीर पैशनेट है, मैच समझते हैं, उनका गेम रीडिंग टॉप ड्रॉ है. कोलकाता नाइट राइडर्स से पता भी लगता है. लास्ट 2 साल उन्होंने लखनऊ सुपर जायंट्स को भी गाइड करके प्लेऑफ तक लेकर गए थे. सो ही इज अ वेरी गुड नेम. हैविंग सेड दैट, I sort of have my kind of doubts if Gautam Gambhir will throw his hat in the ring for a full-time India position, because I think he's joined KKR this year and एक ही साल में वो छोड़कर भारत में भारतीय टीम का responsibility ले लेंगे, मुझे नहीं लगता है. But the name you suggested was a good name. Swapnil, what was the next question? You flashed it and then you took it back. Is Rohit going to KKR? आयुष सिन्हा, गुड क्वेश्चन. मैंने वेंकी मैसूर से ये सवाल पूछा था कि रोहित शर्मा और अभिषेक नायर का वो जो डिस्कशन था, आप लोग उसको वीडियो को हटा दिए थे, इसके बारे में थोड़ा सा बताइए मुझे. उन्होंने क्या कहा कल देख लीजिएगा. बट मैंने ये डायरेक्ट सवाल रोहित से, वेंकी मैसूर से पूछा था, क्या केकेआर रोहित शर्मा के बारे में इंटरेस्टेड है, आप वो डिस्कशन के बारे में क्या कहना चाहते हैं. केकेआर का सीईओ ने क्या कहा, हम लोग कल रेव स्पोर्ट्स में चला देंगे, आप जरूर देख लीजिएगा क्या कहा उन्होंने. मैंने ये डायरेक्ट सवाल उनसे पूछा था. शांतनु सरस्वती, I have posted a post on Facebook wall. I will request you to go through it. Posted on Facebook wall on you. Shantanu, I don't have the link. Where is it? How do I get it? Shantanu, how do I get this? Shantanu, what was his name? Shantanu Saraswati. One hour, Germany. লেখা লেখা খেলা নির্বাচনও আমি. আপনি বাংলায় লিখেছেন শান্তনু, মানে এটা অনেক বড় একটা লেখা. এটা কি এইটার কথা বলছেন আপনি? Kindly just confirm here, because it's quite a long, there is a Nuremberg photograph 5 hours back. There's a Bangla piece. Is that the one that you're talking about? Kindly confirm, because it's pretty long. I mean, it will be difficult for me to sort of read it, the full thing, but I will definitely read it. SK Anand, how are drop-in pitches from Adelaide likely to behave? Tough one to answer. Tough one to answer. The Adelaide curator was on record saying the pitches will have bounce, the pitches will have pace. So it is very difficult to say at this point in time that what it will be like when the matches are actually played. So this is a difficult one, Mr. Anand, to answer, but one would expect decent pitches. If I see the Australian team, I actually think that they are going in with the notion that the wickets will be reasonable, not like the IPL, because had they thought that the pitches will be like the IPL, they would not have they would not have uh, they would not have picked David Warner. Absolutely, they would not have picked David Warner. So that's something that, you know, that they uh, so that is something that I think the pitches in the World Cup will be reasonable for batting, but the bowlers will also have a say. So that's my personal assumption. But the Adelaide curator was on record saying that the pitches will have bounce. Pratyush Jha, love your work. Don't you feel that the love Rohit has gained since ODI World Cup, he will lose everything if he doesn't perform? Everyone will say he didn't deserve. Okay, this is actually a very good question, Pratyush. Let me answer this. मैंने ना रोहित से पूछा था 2020-21 वाला ऑस्ट्रेलिया दौरे के दौरान, मैंने उनसे पूछा था कि वो आईपीएल चैंपियन थे, और उनका पिताजी का एट दैट पॉइंट इन टाइम कोविड हुआ था। सो भारतीय टीम के साथ वो ऑस्ट्रेलिया नहीं जा पाए थे। एज अ रिजल्ट क्या हुआ, उनको कमर्शियल एयरलाइन पे जाना पड़ा और उनको 14 दिन का हार्ड क्वारंटीन भी भुगतना पड़ा। तो मैंने रोहित से कहा था कि यार तुम्हें 14 दिन हार्ड क्वारंटीन तुमको करना पड़ेगा, उसी के बाद तुम टीम के साथ ज्वाइन कर पाओगे। कोविड के टाइम है, तुम जा क्यों रहे हो? तुम तो क्लियरली इंजरी एनसीए में जाके रेक्यूपरेट कर सकते थे और उसके बाद डायरेक्टली इंग्लैंड सीरीज खेल सकते थे। तुम क्यों जा रहे हो? इतना रिस्क तुम क्यों ले रहे हो? क्योंकि तुम थर्ड टेस्ट मैच खेलोगे 2 या 3 दिन का प्रैक्टिस के बाद, शायद 2 दिन के प्रैक्टिस के बाद ऑस्ट्रेलिया के साथ ऑस्ट्रेलिया में खेलोगे 2 दिन के प्रैक्टिस के बाद। ये क्या सही हो रहा है? क्या तुमको डर नहीं लग रहा है? रोहित का आंसर जो था ना प्रत्युष, वाज अ ब्रिलियंट आंसर। इसे देखिए, मुझे फेलियर से डर नहीं लगता है। अगर भारत के लिए मुझे खेलना है और मुझे अपॉर्चुनिटी मिल रहा है, मैं वो फेलियर से नहीं डरता। मेरा ही नाम है ना, मैं खराब करूंगा क्या फर्क पड़ता है? बट मैं भारत के लिए हर समय मेरा हाथ ऊपर जाएगा खेलने के लिए। और कैप्टन रोहित को, मुझे इतना तो मैं मानूंगा रोहित के बारे में कि अगर वो सोचते थे कि वो नहीं खेल पाएंगे और ही कैनॉट कंट्रीब्यूट टू द टीम कॉज, वो नहीं खेलते। इंडिया को सैक्रिफाइस कर देंगे खुद के लिए, रोहित शर्मा ये कभी नहीं करेंगे, कतई नहीं करेंगे। मैं आपको गारंटी कर सकता हूं ये नहीं हो सकता है। हाँ, फॉर्म में नहीं है, फॉर्म में है आईपीएल में। मैं दोबारा डॉक्टर पालकर का जो सवाल था, वो फॉर्म में नहीं है और वो सबको दिख रहा है कि उन्होंने अच्छा बैटिंग नहीं किया। बट वर्ल्ड कप एक अलग ही बीस्ट है। 2021 के बारे में अगर आप सोचें, डेविड वार्नर पूरा आईपीएल फॉर्म में नहीं थे, वो जाके दुबई वर्ल्ड कप में बेस्ट प्लेयर ऑफ द टूर्नामेंट बने थे। सो ये याद रखिएगा रोहित के बारे में, ये बड़ा खिलाड़ी है। विराट कोहली, रोहित शर्मा, डेविड वार्नर, ये सब बहुत बहुत पेडिग्रीड खिलाड़ी है। और मुझे तो ये लगता है कि वर्ल्ड कप विल बी अ डिफरेंट बॉल गेम और रोहित शर्मा को भारत को स्टार्ट्स देना पड़ेगा। अगर वो नहीं दे सकते हैं तो भारत के लिए तो प्रॉब्लम है, ये तो मैं 100% मानता हूं। और तब क्रिटिसिज्म होगा, जरूर होगा, क्योंकि एज कैप्टन अगर वो नहीं परफॉर्म कर पा रहे हैं तो क्रिटिसिज्म तो उनको झेलना पड़ेगा। बट वो क्रिटिसिज्म के लिए डर के रोहित शर्मा भारत के लिए नहीं खेल रहे, ये तो मुझे एकदम ही ये नहीं लग रहा है, क्योंकि मैं उनको जानता हूं और वो चैलेंजेस एक्सेप्ट करने के लिए उनका हाथ ऑलवेज ऊपर रहेगा। Shopnil, I will take a couple of questions. Ayush Sinha, your views on Dhoni as a human being? Any untold story you would like to share? Ayush, Shubhayan and Rohit Juglan have actually recorded. Rohit Juglan and Shubhayan, जो दो मेरे colleagues हैं, एक्चुअली मेरे साथ एक हिंदी में उन्होंने हिंदी में मेरे साथ एक महेंद्र सिंह धोनी पे 45-50 मिनट्स का पॉडकास्ट रिकॉर्ड किया है। वो जो पॉडकास्ट है वो जरूर देख लीजिएगा, क्योंकि उस पॉडकास्ट में मैंने सारे अनटोल्ड स्टोरीज के बारे में ही जिक्र किया है और अनटोल्ड स्टोरीज के बारे में ही बताया है। सो वो जरूर पॉडकास्ट देखिएगा, क्योंकि वो धोनी पे स्पेशल है। शुभान और रोहित जुगलान आपको बता देंगे कि वो पॉडकास्ट कब ऑन एयर होगा, बट उन्होंने मेरे से कहा था धोनी आप अपना नेक्स्ट एपिसोड नीरज चोपड़ा होगा और उसके बाद एमएस धोनी। सो ये दोनों पॉडकास्ट बैक टू बैक आ रहा है आयुष, सो जरूर देखिएगा, उसमें मैंने यही किया है। स्वप्निल, आई विल Ajay, don't you think Nassau Stadium is looking quite smaller than the required standard set by ICC? Look, the Nassau County Cricket Stadium, I mean, ultimately it's New York. It will not be a Melbourne or an Eden Gardens. And yes, it's a relatively smaller stadium, but the boundaries will be, I mean, there are many stadiums where the boundaries are 60 meters. So one has to wait and see what is the final size of the boundaries, but then it will be for this, we've got to wait and see. But it's New York. I mean, you're trying to globalize the game. You're taking it to New York. It's a spectacle. You're creating that for India versus Pakistan. So these things, I don't want to be unnecessarily critical. I don't know the exact measurements of the boundaries as of now. One has to wait and see. But the stadium looks spectacular. And from everybody who has I've spoken to in New York and not in New York, it's been quite fantastic. Uh, my producer Shopdeal is telling me ki I should take my own the questions that were sent to me. Let me take them and I will come back to questions online again. Anushmita Bhattacharya had sent me some questions about my book. Okay, so where are the questions? Here. So, Anushmita, firstly, let me put this on record 15 minutes onto our show that you have read the book cover to cover. You went and bought it and you liked the book. You've called it unputdownable. So, I'm very, very pleased because the truth is out there for everybody to read. And I'm delighted that somebody has read the book. Loads of people have written to me about the book. Yesterday, Imran Mirza posted a beautiful post on the book, and everybody, I mean, the feedback has been overwhelming. The book is a national bestseller. But your questions are good questions and critical questions. So, in your entire book, you declared almost a war against the social media trolls. Uh, but what was more shame? Why were you silent about the BCCI? Why did you accept your charges when you were not guilty? Why did you mention in the book that you have nothing against the apex body? Firstly, I did not accept my charges, Anushmita. At no point did I accept my charges. The charges were lies peddled by a national cricketer. And I'm saying it openly on this particular platform. The cricketer peddled a series of untruths. So I did not accept. Even before the committee, I did not accept at any point in time. If you get a recording of my testimony to the committee, aapko pata lag jayega, you will get to know I did not accept the charges. Categoric. Why did I say? What could the apex body have done? It is my word against a national cricketer. When 100,000 tweets are against me, social media has branded me guilty. Every day there is a series of abuse. It is one journalist's word against a centrally contracted cricketer. What would the apex body do? Who would they go with? Who would they go with? The apex body has to go with the centrally contracted cricketer. It's only fair. So why should I have anything against the apex body? After that, every time I've met the apex body, they've not done anything with me. My journalists were never discriminated against. I have no problems with the apex body whatsoever. The apex body here were two people. It was one person's word against another. That's what it was, right? I had never accepted the charges, and I never will till I die because the charges were untrue and they were lies. The cricketer in question peddled a series of lies against me and my family, and he brought in my family. My family was not even involved. All of a sudden, he said, I don't want to say anything about the family. Are Brutus is an honorable man, and a whole series of social media trolls were unleashed against my family because of the cricketer. So, if anything, the cricketer should have the courage to come and apologize to my mother, to my wife, who was called a prostitute, and my mother called ridiculous names on social media. That's what the cricketer should do if he has some courage, if he has some dignity left. Okay? And coming to the apex body, absolutely have nothing against them because it was one person's word against another. One was a centrally contracted cricketer. The apex body backed the centrally contracted cricketer. Also, with the pressure of the social media trial against me, 100,000 tweets for I think 10 or 15 days on end, what would you have done? I was pronounced guilty already. That's the power of a social media trial. It can destroy you, it can break you, it can break a family. And that's what was being done. People were taking pleasure in finding the choicest abuse against me and the family. That's how difficult it was. Today, the very same people have come back and says, "Oh, you had to go through this. Your family had to go through this. We were with you, right? Yes, you were with me. I didn't see them." So I hope I've answered your question. There is another one from you, and I will take that as well. I told you on email that I will answer all your questions. Was the apex body dumb to believe in such kangaroo courts and not listen to you? That's the power of a social media trial. It's not about dumb or not dumb. It is one person's word against another. One is a centrally contracted cricketer, and the other person has already been pronounced guilty with 100,000 tweets of abuse every single day. The power that social media unleashes, you are already branded guilty. I mean, it is not easy to deal with these things. Anushmita, you will have to go through this to understand how tough it is. I had given up. So it is not a question of dumb or not dumb. It is a question of the power that social media now wields on our lives. We live our lives on social media and people use or misuse this rather. So it is not a question of that. Just a curious reader asking the author, and you're absolutely entitled to ask. Absolutely 200 times entitled to ask. And it is my job to answer you because you've been a reader who has read the book cover to cover and is asking me a legitimate question. Now that you've served the ban and vocal about your situation, what changes have you been seen yourself as a person? Professionally, you mentioned your startup has been doing great work. The team has increased over the years, but as mentioned in the Gita, whenever we overcome difficulties, we actually advance few steps in our life. Also, the adversities allow us to bow our head to the divine, receive his blessings. Beautifully said. There are many changes in me. One, I've become cynical and sarcastic to a degree. I will do my work, but will I have the same passion to go and help people? No. I will wonder if I should do that or not. As far as this particular cricketer is concerned, all I did was help him. Will I go out of my way to help others? Maybe not. I have become far more protective about my mother, wife, and daughter. That's how you should be because they are my own, my family, my colleagues, my team, my teammates of 40. They stood by me. There are corporates who stood by me, my sponsors, my friends, and they are my world. I've realized who is a friend and who is not. I've actually come to terms with that, and I've understood very, very well who actually is a friend of mine and who is not. So that is my realization. And yes, God is kind. Otherwise, for people to back me, for corporates to back me at that point in time, for some journalists to back me at that point in time, it would not have happened. And for people like you today to buy my book, read and write to me with such generosity and such kindness, it would not have happened. My book is today a national bestseller. People are writing in every single day. My school groups, people who I've met 30 years back, my college mates, university mates, people from across the academic fraternity, people are writing in. This is the kindness that I've got. The narrative has changed. People now know the truth. I've got lawyers writing into me from across the country saying, why didn't you tell us? Now, that is one question that I also will answer, that why did I not go to court? Let me make this very, very clear. Why did I not go to court? Look, I'm a middle class professional. I had spent lakhs of rupees already to consult leading legal luminaries and also gone to the Kolkata High Court to file a case. The amount of money that I had already spent, I realized that if I have to spend this kind of money, I will put in that money into my company, because in our company, at that point in time, so 10 people, today we are 40. And by the way, 40 are not 40 journalists, there are 40 families. 40 families are sustained by this company. So for a startup, if I had to put in the money, and I'm not a billionaire, the money that I had, I would much rather put into Rev Sports than file a case, because the case would drag on for years and years and years, and I did not have the money or the courage. And secondly, I had already seen my mother's mental health go for a toss. One day her blood sugar was going up to 400, the second day it was coming down to 66. I don't think she would have been able to take the trauma of a case. So the best thing for me was to keep quiet and do what I know best. Write it out and put it out there, which I've done, and look at the feedback. So to go to court is not easy. It is very easy to say the legal thing is there, go to the High Court, go to the Supreme Court. Do you even realize what it entails? Do you realize the cost? Do you realize the mental toughness? Do you realize the trauma? Do you realize how many times I would have to go? We are not billionaires sitting here that somebody would go and file the case for us and go and fight the case. And I'm putting it on record. If you want to see, I will show. I had paid top notch legal luminaries fees to consult them multiple times, and I then realized this is beyond me. I'd even gone and done, a case at the Calcutta High Court would be filed on my behest. All of that was done, but then I pushed back because I realized it was not something that was prudent. I did not have that kind of money, nor was I able to risk my mother's health, because my mother would have, she would not be able to deal with it, because already, because of the lies peddled, because of her son being called names, her daughter being called names, her, the daughter-in-law being called names, and her granddaughter called names at the age of 8, she was already on the verge of a breakdown. I could not put her through more. So I hope I've answered these questions categorically. I have nothing to hide. If I had to hide after 790 days, I would not come and write a book. I would not come and write a book. I would keep quiet and move on. I have written it because I had a truth to share. I have written it because the truth had to be out there. I have written it because I will look the cricketer on his face and into his eyes and say, "You lied. You peddled a series of untruths. Come on, any platform of your choice. Why don't we sit face to face with each other and have a cross examination? One cross examination, and I will look you in your eye and say you lied." So, I'm very categoric about it. And by the way, I wish him well. I wish him well in the rest of his career. I wish his family all the very best, because what I had gone through, no one should go through, and that's why I have not named him. No family should have to go through this. And any journalist who goes through this, I told my friend Vibhu Bhola the other day and Abhishek Tripathi the other day, any journalist who goes through this, my hand will be up to come and help, because I know how traumatic it is, how difficult it is, and how dangerous it is when such lies are peddled against somebody and the family. So that's Anushmita. I hope you have your answers. I have been categoric here, plain, blunt, candid. I hope Dr. Devashish Palkar has his answers, and I hope he will tweet. I hope he will tweet that Boria Majumdar on his show said that Virat Kohli has been the best Indian batter on view in the IPL, and we are concerned about Rohit Sharma's form, because Rohit, as captain of India, needs to do better. I hope he will say all of this on his tweet, and then he will not say that ये स्पॉन्सर किसने किया था. रेव स्पोर्ट्स में कोई आर्टिकल कोई स्पॉन्सर नहीं करता है, सबके पास एडिटोरियल फ्रीडम है. वो सीनियर जर्नलिस्ट से, आते हो तो मेरे से भी सीनियर है, वो आके लिखते हैं और वो रैशनली आर्ग्यूमेंट करते हैं, एक पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू प्रेजेंट करते हैं, और सबको ये फ्रीडम दिया गया है वो अपना पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू प्रेजेंट करना. बायस कोई नहीं होगा, ऑब्जेक्टिव रैशनल रिपोर्टिंग होगा, 100% होगा, और सारे स्पोर्ट्स के बारे में होगा. रेसलिंग में हम क्लियरली बोलेंगे कि मेंस रेसलिंग इन इंडिया हैव टेकन अ बैक सीट, एक्सेप्ट अमन शेरावत. कोई भी क्वालिफाई नहीं किए, सुजीत नहीं किया, दीपक नहीं किया, जयदीप नहीं किया. जयदीप और दिया सुजीत ने हालांकि अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस दिया, बट दोनों यंगस्टर हैं, उनके पास भविष्य है. But at this particular juncture in the Olympics, with one male wrestler qualified, Aman Sherawat, in the 57 kilogram category, I think men's wrestling has taken a backseat after Tokyo. I've got absolutely no hesitation in saying this. I will also tell you that the hockey team, the men's hockey team, the way they are training in Bengaluru, and we were there. Trisha was there with me, Gargi was there with me. We were all there. They are training brilliantly, and you should all expect something good from the hockey team. नीरज चोपड़ा इंटरव्यू प्लीज बोरिया सर. बहुत बार किया यार, बहुत बार किया है नीरज चोपड़ा का इंटरव्यू. मेरे कॉन्क्लेव में, अपना कॉन्क्लेव में भी नीरज चोपड़ा आए थे, दोनों साल आए थे और पैसा नहीं लिया. इमेजिन. और बाय द वे, नीरज चोपड़ा का एक पॉडकास्ट किया है हम लोगों ने, रोहित जुगलान और शुभान मेरे साथ ये पॉडकास्ट रिकॉर्ड किया है नीरज चोपड़ा के बारे में. वेडनेसडे को नीरज चोपड़ा कलिंगा स्टेडियम में खेलेंगे. शुभान हमारे तरफ से वहां पहुंच भी गया है. ये पॉडकास्ट वेडनेसडे को चलेगा. अनटोल्ड स्टोरीज ऑफ नीरज चोपड़ा, जरूर सुनिएगा ये पॉडकास्ट, क्योंकि हम लोगों ने सारे स्टोरीज, सारे किस्सा खुलकर बताए हैं. और नीरज चोपड़ा के बारे में बहुत ऐसी स्टोरीज है जो आपसे मुझे शेयर करना था, मैंने कर दिया है. स्वप्निल, व्हाट वाज द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन? वील फिनिश द शो इन अ मिनट. What was the last question? Karan Rathod. Why sir Murli Srishankar not participating and Jasmine Johnson event time? Murli Srishankar देखो यार, इससे अनफॉर्चुनेट बहुत ही कम आदमी हो सकता है. ओलंपिक्स के पहले ये इंजरी हो जाना, डिस्पाइट हिम क्वालिफाइंग एंड ही वाज डूइंग वेरी वेल, 8.20 इन द एशियन गेम्स. और जैसे वो ट्रेनिंग कर रहे थे, ही इज वन ऑफ माय फेवरेट एथलीट्स, वो तो 8.30 में मानकर चल रहा था, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली उन्हें सर्जरी की जरूरत है, इसीलिए वो एशियन गेम सॉरी फेडरेशन कप ही नहीं, ओलंपिक्स में भी पार्टिसिपेट नहीं कर पाएंगे. So ये आप जान लीजिए, मुरली श्रीशंकर unfortunately will not be there at the Paris 2024 games. So ये था आंसर. I hope you like the show. मैं दोबारा कोशिश करूंगा. कल मैं ट्रैवल कर रहा हूँ, कल मैं दिल्ली में हूँ मैच के लिए, दिल्ली वर्सेस लखनऊ, इसलिए कल नहीं कर पाऊंगा. बट वेडनेसडे दोबारा 5 at 5 जरूर करूंगा आप लोगों के साथ. क्वेश्चंस भेजते रहिएगा, सारे क्वेश्चन, सारे कंट्रोवर्सीज, सारे जो आप लोगों का जो भी लगेगा जरूर भेजिएगा. अब्यूज छोड़ के कुछ भी पूछिए, और मैं सारे सवालों का जवाब दूंगा. जैसे डॉक्टर पालकर को कहा, सारे सवालों का जवाब इस प्रोग्राम में दिया जाएगा. ये आपका प्रोग्राम है, और रेव स्पोर्ट्स में सारे पॉइंट ऑफ व्यूज हम लोग एक्सप्रेस करते रहेंगे. यही रेव स्पोर्ट्स का विशेष जो है यही है. सारे जर्नलिस्ट एक साथ बनकर रेव स्पोर्ट्स बनाया है. दिस इज अ प्लेटफॉर्म बाय जर्नलिस्ट फॉर जर्नलिस्ट, एंड यू नो इट इज मेंट फॉर जर्नलिस्ट एज वेल. दैट्स हाउ वी आर. I will finish here. It's been a 30-minute show, been a breeze. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for sending in all your questions, and I appreciate your support. Do please go and watch the Sai Sudarshan interview today on Red Sports that I have done. Absolutely brilliant guy, brilliant batter, and what a fabulous human being. In the interview, if you watch, you will understand that story about his mother and what he wanted me to tell Justin Langer when I meet JL tomorrow is something that you should go and watch. Thank you very much for watching and see you on Wednesday, same time, 5 p.m. at 5 and 5. Thank you very much.